Hello everyone, we are live now. Today, Sir Muhammad Ali Khan is joining us and we will be discussing the transition from 9608 to 9618, the new syllabus which is going to be enforced from next session onwards, and it is in place actually nowadays. So we will be discussing that how the current syllabus will be phased out and how the new syllabus will take over. And further, if we will find time, hopefully we will we will be discussing recursion at A2 level. So welcome, Sir Muhammad Ali Khan.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show.
All right, sir. So we can start, sir, now.
Sure, sir. Let me share my screen. And I think we are good now.
Yes, we are.
You can see my screen. Okay, everyone. Yes. We will be starting with recursion. And after recursion, then completing recursion, then we are going to discuss syllabus, as well as Sir Zafar has defined that we are also going to discuss our new syllabus for the computer science. So starting with recursion first, recursion is a very excellent topic of computer science for programming level, from university level, for A2 level. It's a very excellent and deep topic, and we are going to cover this topic very deeply. Starting with recursion, before starting recursion, you should have knowledge of these topics. Before starting recursion, you must have knowledge, number one, of functions and procedures. Number two, you should have a good knowledge of loops and as well as nested loop as well. Number three, you should have knowledge of selection statements. And number four, you should have knowledge of parameters and a little knowledge of stack data structure would be wonderful. Stack data structure. If you are having knowledge of these 5 topics, then we are good to go with the recursion. If you haven't studied these topics, then go back to ZAK videos. You will for sure find the videos of functions, loops, selection statement, parameters, stack data structure, and then come back to recursion, and then it will be fantastic for you. Now, starting with recursion, recursion is actually a Latin word, and it derives from a Latin word that was recursio. It was in late 90s. It's a Latin driven word, and this word means run back.
Sir, that is knowledge for me as well. I never thought that way, that it has got some deep connection, deep roots. Recursion has deep roots in past. Wow.
Yes, it's a Latin word. It was then converted in 1960s into a word that was converted into recursion. And recursion in mathematics, it was mainly used first, and it means repetition. So what recursion actually means? Recursion means repetition. Now, what is recursion? We will be going in very depth. Okay? So recursion means repetition. Now, when we talk about a programming language definition for recursion, it's quite different. And in programming, Recursion actually means when a function or procedure calls itself. So when a function or a procedure calls itself, it's known as recursion. Let me mark from here. It's known as recursion. Now, to understand the concept of recursion, there are three basic principles that you should know. Number one, the base case. Number two, general case. And number three, recursion unwinding. Now you must be thinking that what Muhammad Ali Khan is teaching, he's saying that recursion is repetition of instructions, and he started off with the base case, general case, unwinding. Now what he's talking about, we are going in these cases later on. Let's start with a daily life example, but you should remember recursion depends on base case, general case, and unwinding. These are the concepts. If these concepts are clear, then your grip on the recursion will be very good. Okay, let's see. Here's a boy. His boy name is Walt, and Walt was driving towards his home. Walt was driving and driving and driving and driving towards his home. Now, what Walt is performing? Walt is currently performing a same task again and again. And what that task is? That task is driving. He's driving back to his home. He's driving back to his home. When Walt is going to stop driving? When he will reach his home. So, this is our general case. General case is actually sometimes also referred to recursive case as well. So Walt is performing a constant job repeatedly. He was driving, but when he reaches home, he stopped driving and his task was completed. So this is actually the base case when recursion will end. So these are the two cases. I'm just talking about daily life example. We will be going in the programming examples as well, but after some time. Okay, there is one more possibility that Walt can do. Let me draw in front of you. Let's say this is Walt. My drawing is poor, so pardon me that. This is the car of the Walt. Sir Zafar is also laughing. So these are the wheels. Instead of driving towards the home, if Walt start moving away from his home, so what will happen? It's a major disadvantage of recursion, and we are going to talk about that later on. So if Walt is driving away from his home, he will never reach the base case. He will never reach his home. So this is also one of the conditions of the recursion, that always general case after repetition, after every repetition, it should be coming nearer to the base case. Every general case after repetition should be coming closer to the base case. So we mark over here general case after every repetition should come nearer to base case. If this is happening, then we are good with the recursion. But if this is not happening, if after every recursion general case is moving, I'm writing GC for general case, if this is moving away from the base case, then this is a very big problem, and we are going to talk about that problem. And this is the problem. We have a very famous website on the for the programmers, and I in my university's time I used to go through that website very well. So I'm going to talk about that website as well. Now, Let me start off with a very basic example. Now we are over here. We have seen an example from the daily life. Now we are moving towards an example from the programming aspect. And I am first writing a pseudocode, and then we are going to convert this into programming language as well. So let's see. Starting off with, so before we move forward, let's write the definition for the base case and the general case. So what is base case? Because these are the very important aspects of the recursion, and if you are clear with this concept, then we are good to go. Case for which the solution can be stated non-recursively, means there is no recursion involved in this case. No recursion in the base case. Or we can also say that this is the case where recursion stops. Now let's write down the definition for the general case as well. And general case is case in which solution calls itself. And general case sometimes is referred as recursive case as well. Now, let me start with a very basic example of the procedure. Let's say we are having one of the procedure. I'm writing an algorithm over here. So the keyword for the procedure is procedure. And I named this procedure as, let's say, count down. I declare one of the parameters at the starting of the course. Oh, sorry, at the starting of the topic, I told you that you should have knowledge of these topics. You should be knowing what are functions, procedures, loops, selection statement, parameters, and stack. If you are good, then because I'm not covering procedures and functions in this lecture, so I declared one of the parameter over here. Let's say n. I declared the data type. Let's say integer. Bracket close. And if I was in my regular class, I must be asking to the students what will be the data type over here, and every student will be answering, yes sir, it will be integer, it will be la, it will be blah. But remember one thing, that procedure does not have data types. Functions have data types, not procedures. So I declared I output n over here, and I declare one of the statement over here. If n is equal to 0, let me change this statement. If n is greater than 0, then count down n minus 1, and if, and I guess we are good, and procedure. Now what I performed over here, let's see. Let me dry run this code for you. Let's say I entered the value of n 5. The code moved forward. 5 is printed. I checked over here. 5 is greater than 0. The condition is true. So I am inside the if condition. And again, you can see what was the name of our procedure. The name of the procedure was countdown. And again, in this procedure, this is our procedure. Let me again mark. This is our procedure, and inside the procedure we have called again the same procedure. So this is recursion, when a procedure calls itself or within itself. So in countdown procedure we are calling again countdown, but this time we have a case over here, and that case is we have asked to reduce the value of n by 1. Now again, when this procedure will be called, this will again move towards the top, but this time the value of n won't be 5. It will be now, first the value of n was 5, now the value of n will be 4. So we will be printing 4. Again we will be checking 4 is greater than 0, condition will be true. Again the method will be procedure will be called, n minus 1, 3, 2, 1, and when the value of n will be reaching 0, so let me check over here. 0 is greater than 0, condition will be false. If will be moving towards end if, and our procedure will be ended. So in this example I told you that recursion having two cases, base case and the general case. General case is the recursive case. So in this example this is our general case, and this is our base case, because when this condition will be false our recursion will be ended. So this will be acting over here like a base case, because this is the condition where our recursion will be ended. And our loop, when our loop will be ended, the countdown procedure should be displayed like it will be displaying counting 4 5 3 2 1 0. So let me perform this in programming as well for you guys. So let's see. Let me go back to the Zoom, and I will be now writing the code. So Zafar, my IDE screen is visible.
I can see it, sir. No issues.
Oh, fine. So let me write the same code again in front of you. Sub countdown, and let me. Okay. Let me tell you first. I am currently writing this code in VB.NET. Visual Basic I am using, and in console mode I am using, because this is the part of your this language is included in your syllabus. And if we will be getting time, I will be writing the code in Python as well, so no issues. But personally I love this language better than Python. Everyone have their own choices. It's a well structured language. Okay, I declared n as integer. There won't be any data for the procedure. I entered. I declared, what was my pseudocode? Let if console dot write line, and I displayed the code over here, n, and if n is greater than 0, then again countdown. This is recursive case, n minus 1, and I think we are good to go. So let's call this method in our main. The name of this method is countdown, and I run this code for value that is 5. Now let me run this code. What should be the result? The result should be 5 4 3 2 1 0. Let me run this code. And here you go. We are good. 5 4 3 2 1 0, and the recursion works. But I have a question over here. I have a question. I told you that what happens if Walt, instead of driving towards his home, he start moving away from his home? What will happen? So let's see. I changed the sign of greater than with less than. Now let's see our condition. The condition is saying if n is less than 0, then call n minus 1. If I entered the value minus 1 over here, So -1, then again minus our code, our recursive case will be -2, -3, -4, -5, and this condition will never be false. So it will be a continuous loop that will be running, running, running. Then what will happen? So let me run this code and let's see what happens. Oh my God, what's happening now? Let's see. The code is running, 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 running. Oh my God, when the code is going to stop? I cannot answer this. It's still going on, still going on, it's still going on, still going on. Oh, here you go. We have an error. And the error is, let's see what the IDE is saying. What kind of error is this? The error is stack overflow exception. So this is a very famous website as well, Stack Overflow. I took very much help from that website when we were in our university's days. So actually, whenever a recursion is called, a stack, a memory is allotted by your IDE to that recursion. And we can see the spaces, it was 4227. It can vary in different compiler depending on how much memory we have allotted to our IDE. So if our base case is our journal case is not reaching, it's not reaching towards our base case, then our stack will be overflowed and it will cause an exception, it will cause an error. Now there is one more concept. Let's see one more thing. I outputted n before our recursive call. You can see this was our recursive call, this was our recursion, and I output before recursion, and you can see this was our output. So I output before recursion. Now I'm going to do a little more different stuff, and that will surely involve again one more concept, and that concept is known as recursion unwinding or recursion unwinding. So let me control X and let me paste that output after the recursive call. Now what you are thinking that what's going to happen? Let's see. I'm going to dry run this now with step into process. Step by step we are going to work. Our process is started. Let's move forward. Our procedure is called, oh sorry, let me stop this console and let me write a value that can be better for 5, because we don't want again that error to be caused. That was stack overflow. That was just for your concept purpose, that if general case is not reaching towards the base case, the stack will be overflowed. Now again, step into F11, main procedure call, move up. Now n5 is greater than 0. Again, the value of n now will be 4. Again it went up, again down. 4 is greater than 0, false. Again 4, now 3, 2, 1, and we are done, finish. Now let's see our console. Nothing is printed. Now you must be thinking what happened. Nothing is printed. So let's see. Again I move forward, and again what's happening now? The procedure is not ending. It's again going up, coming down, going up, coming down, going up, coming down. What's happening? If I change my screen, you can see now again the numbers are printed, but this time they are printed in a reverse order. So this is the basics of recursion unwinding. This is the basics of stack. This is the basics of recursion unwinding. So let me pause this screen for a second. We will be coming back to again programming. when I will be teaching you factorial part, let me explain you what happened over here. So I stop my sharing. I start my sharing from the tablet. And let's see. In this process, what I did, let me clear few things there so that I can write again. This is a very important concept. You must understand this concept. And let me take this output down after the if statement. And we are good. So we run this code for n is equal to 5. 5 is greater than 0. Condition is true. We come inside if statement, again recursive call. It will go back to the countdown. Now the value of n will be 4. Okay, and again we check 4 is greater than 0. Again countdown. Now the value of n will be 3. But this 5, 4, 3, this is not removing a remove new array. They are saved in one place, and that place is actually known as stack. A stack is a data structure that follows a process, and I must say you all know that it follows LIFO, last in first out. So whenever our output is after the recursive call, the elements are saved in stack. So let's say this is our memory for the stack. The first thing that comes in this stack was 5. Then what comes? 4. Then 3. Then similarly it will be 2. Then 1. And when this value will be 0, it will go again up. It will check. 0 is greater than 0. Condition will be false. And this if statement will be ended, and we are going to output n. So our output will be 0, as we have seen in the code that it was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our output will be 0. And after that, now you have seen that we were at the end procedure, and it was again going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, again and again, because it was removing the values from the stack. And when we remove the values from the stack, it always follow last in first out. So the element that was last in the stack was 1. So that's why 1 was printed. Then 2, 3, 4, and the last element in the stack was 5. So this whole concept is known as recursion unwind or recursion unwinding. When recursion unwinding always happens, but when you can see when our output is after the recursive call, you can easily see the recursion unwinding. And in this example, we have also seen how recursion unwinding works. How first 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, how the elements were printed in the reverse order. They were not vanished, they were saved in the stack. And again, we have also seen if our base journal case is moving away from the base case, then stack is overflowed. So there's a limited amount of memory that is present in the IDE, and we use that memory for the recursion purpose. Okay, now let's move towards a very famous algorithm, and that algorithm is actually, you all know, factorial. So what is factorial of a number? We all know what is factorial, bhai. Factorial of a number is, let's say I entered 4. So 4 ka factorial is 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1, and it will be, I guess, 24. So what is factorial? Factorial is actually multiplying the number with 1 less than that number, 3, then 2, then 1. And the multiple answer is stored in a place in the memory. So let's perform this factorial function with the help of recursion. So I will be performing first the program code of this, and then we are going to move towards the pseudocode again. And we will be seeing that how actually recursion unwinding works in a factorial function. So let me start the casting from the tablet. Oh, sorry, from PC. Here you go. So let me write down the factorial code. Function, the keyword is function, and I write the name as fact and n as integer. And in this factorial, because it's a function, we need to define the data type as well. So as integer. So let me declare one of the variable dim result as integer. And I started off with my code, and we all know that if the value of n is equal to 0, then what is the result of the factorial? Then result is equal to 1. Okay, and else result should be equal to n multiply by fact n minus 1, and I think we are good. So let's see, this is our base case, n is equal to 0. When the base case will be reached, result will be equal to 1. This is our general case, and general case is n is multiplied by 1 less than that number, that is n minus 1. And in the end we need to print the result, so function always return a value, so we need to return a result, so return result. And I think we are good to go. So let me run this code fact in front of you, and then we are going to see how this factorial function works. But remember one thing in this code, I told you before, we can see actually what is the output in we don't have output in functions, but we have a return statement. So you can see the return statement is called after the recursion. After the general case, after the recursive case, we have the output. So what will happen? We will be having over here the recursion unwinding concept. The data will be stored in the stack, and then we will be retrieving back the data from the stack. So let me run this code in front of you and see the result. You all know that the fact, and let's say 4, the factorial of the 4 is 24. So let me run this code, and nothing will happen. Nothing. Why? Because function always return a value, so we need to display that value, and for displaying that value we need to display that on console. So console.writeLine fact, now we can see the result, because it always return a value, but we were not displaying the result, so that's why that was not displayed on console. So let me start again, and you can see, here you go, bingo, 24. So how this factorial is calculated? Let me first dry run the code in front of you. The fact function is called, value is 4, it went n is equal to 0, false, else, again recursive case. Now actually 4 is saved in stack, again 3 is saved in stack, 2 is saved in stack, 1 is saved in stack, and I think n reaches 0. Now it's multiplying 1 into 2, 2 into 3, and so on. The results are multiplying from the stack. They are retrieving the value from the stack, and in the end we can see that our value, our result is displayed in the form of 24. So let me show you one more thing that will surely clear up your concept furthermore. Let's see, this was our function. This is the pseudocode for that function, same function that we have performed recently. So let's see. This was our first call. Let me take this function aside on a different side so we can easily do the editing stuff. And I think little more. And we are good to go. So number of calls, value of n, result, and return value. Actually, this is a stack in simple words. So the first call, the value of n was 4. The value of result was 4 multiplied by fact n minus 1, that will be 3. And the return value was nothing. Second call, 3 multiplied by fact 2. Third call, 2 multiplied by fact 1. Then fourth call, n value 1 multiplied by fact 0. And then the value was in the fifth call, the value was the value for the n was 0. And in this case, we can see the value for the result was 1. So I store the value of 1 over here. Now what will happen? Recursion unwind will be started, and we all know that stack always follows what stack follows. Stack follows LIFO, last in first out. So the first thing that will happen in the return value will be 1 will be multiplied with 1, with this 1. This is stored in stack. This is stored in stack. Second call, 2 will be multiplied by this 2 will be multiplied with the result that was again 1. And now our result value is 2. Now this 2, sorry, this not 2. Yes, currently we are having 2. This 2 will be multiplied with the stack value, that will be 3. So 3 multiplied by 2. So now the result will be 6. This 6 will be multiplied with this 4. So let's see, 4 multiplied by 6, and I think we don't have anything more. The final result will be 24. So this is how recursion unwind works. The values are stored in stack, and again stack follows LIFO. You have the basic concept. LIFO is last in first out, and we displayed the value of 24. Now let's discuss the advantages and disadvantages of of recursion. Stack is also one of the very important topic, and बड़ा मजा आता है इस टॉपिक को पढ़ाने में भी. So let's see the advantages and disadvantages of recursion, and then we are going to move towards our syllabus. And there is much new in this new syllabus. There are very much changes, and we need to discuss those changes as well. Now, advantages of recursion. The first advantage is recursion adds clarity to the code. It makes code look simple, and in sometimes it also, if it is used effectively, then it can also reduce time of execution. But again, I'm repeating my statement, if used efficiently. If it is not used efficiently, then it can blow up your memory. Recursion is very much favored in tree traversals. Tree traversal, again, it's a very huge topic and we can discuss it someday later on. Reduces the code. And if you are using recursion, then no need for nested loops. If we are using recursion, then there is no need for the nested loops, so they can be avoided. And the best part, works well in different programming paradigms, like object-oriented programming, declarative programming. In these cases, recursion is always used and it works very well in those cases. Now, let's talk about the disadvantages. The first disadvantage that I showed you live, that was stack overflow. Another disadvantage is uses more amount of memory. Sometimes for the programmers, it is a difficult concept. So this is also a disadvantage when we are talking in with respect to the programmer. Difficult to understand, because it's not easy for everyone to understand how the flow, how recursion unwinding is working and all that. And it can sometimes slow up your program if it is not used effectively. So these are the few disadvantages of recursion, and we have talked about the advantages of recursion. So I think we are good over here with the recursion. We have seen the base case, journal case, recursive case. We have seen the factorial code. We have seen how recursion unwind works and what is the role of the stack in the recursion. So let me add one more thing, that for you guys, you can work on this assignment if you have time, you find. So work on Tower of Hanoi. This is a good example and it will clear up your concept much more again. So in universities, the first assignment in the object oriented, or when they teach recursion, they give this this as an assignment, that create Tower of Hanoi using recursion. So you can go through the code, you can search on the internet, Google it, work on it. And if you need any help, then I'm available, and Sir Zach is also available. So Sir Zafar, you can, if you want to add anything in this recursion part.
Sir, it was wonderfully explained. I don't think that there is anything left over. I think we should move on to syllabus transition because we don't have much time.
Okay.
And we should ask our students to solve few past paper questions and get back to us through the discussion under this video so that we could answer them as well. So it is actually required to practice all past paper questions. Otherwise, it would become hard to understand, to grasp the idea of recursion. And recursion is an integral part. As far as the abstract data types like tree, as you said, binary trees are concerned, whenever we read them, whenever we traverse them, recursion is absolutely necessary.
So thank you so much, Sir Zafar. Let's talk about the new syllabus, and I won't be taking much time. So let's see. CS 9618, a wonderful change in the CS syllabus, and I surely said that Cambridge is excellently working on this how they have designed the new syllabus, how they are working with the new syllabus. It's wonderful. Now let me start off with, again, the components are same. P1, paper 1, that will be of theory. P2, that will be of this time algorithms only. P3 and P4. Before we start, I would like to give you a very general information about your syllabus. This syllabus is 9001 ISO certified syllabus. ISO is an international organization that works on the quality improvement of the education, how you are updating the syllabus. So this syllabus is ISO certified by the Cambridge. Cambridge has certified with this international organization, and this is a certified syllabus. So starting with paper 1. Paper 1 will be, this is theory, fundamentals, again 75 marks, and the weightage is 25%, and the duration will be 1 hour 30 minutes. Now what are the changes I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. Paper 2, programming fundamentals. I'm not writing the whole stuff over here because you can go through that syllabus. The things that are important, I'm going to tell you that. 2 hours duration of the paper, and the most important stuff, no programming language. Current syllabus, we required programming language. We need to convert that into programming language, but they have removed the programming language. You just need to write the pseudo codes. You just need to write, you just need to work on the pseudocodes. Although you need to work theoretically on the programming concept, but still no question will be involved of the programming. Like the examiner won't be asking you to write to convert any of your algorithms or write a new program in the programming language. The examiner will be asking you to write in pseudocodes. So this is the major stuff that you should remember. Now in paper 2 is not involving programming stuff, but concepts are involved again. And paper 3, again, it's an advanced theory. Advanced theory and same stuff, 75 marks. And again, for paper 2 is same, and paper 4 is also same, 75 marks, weightage is 25%. So they have equally very well balanced, divided the whole paper into 4 components. There is nothing much new about paper 3. The thing they have introduced one new topic. I'm going to talk about that later on. And now let's talk about paper 4. Paper 4 will be a practical from now onwards, and I think this is for the best. They have done this job perfectly. Now paper 4, like bio, physics, chemistry, in A levels they all have practicals. So now the computer science students will also be having practical in, and that is will be paper 4. This will be 2 hours 30 minutes paper, 2 hours 30 minutes paper. And in this paper you need to complete the code. There will be a task that will be given, and you need to write on your IDE those codes. The languages that are recommended is VB.NET, second is Python, and the fourth is the new language they have introduced is Java. Is the new language they have introduced in P4. They have skipped out Pascal. They have removed Pascal from their syllabus, and now they have introduced Java in your syllabus. So it's your wish, your call. You learn the codes in VB.NET, you learn the codes in Python, or you learn the codes in Java. You need to write practical, you will be performing in your IDE. It can be PyCharm, it can be any of the IDE, but the computer on which you will be working, that computer won't be having any internet or any email service. That is clearly written. So your file will be uploaded, already present in the document file. You just need to open that file. You will be solving the task. After solving the task, you will be saving all your data in a Word file with your candidate ID. एक वर्ड की फाइल आप लोग बनाएंगे and you are going to save your record, save your data in that Word file, and when the examiner is going to say see that you have saved your work, you have placed the screenshot well, and all is good, then you are good to go. And this is the duration. They have changed 2 hours 30 minutes paper, and it will be totally practical paper. Now let's move forward. We have few updation in the paper 1, and like I will be mentioning major changes that they have moved few topics from P3. From P3 they have moved few topics to paper 1. One of them is CS MA CD, carrier sense multiple access collision detection. My favorite topic when I used to teach P3. This is one of my favorite topics because my major's in computer networks, so that's why this is a very good topic. The thing, more stuff in input output devices. They have introduced virtual headset. This is again one of the topic they have introduced, new topic. They have also introduced in P1, that is cloud computing. Cloud computing, the future. After 3-4 years, everything will be on cloud. We can have a talk after this session. Later on in the coming session, we can talk about the future aspect. We can talk about the university admissions and what subjects you are going to opt for the majors. So it's a very good topic that we can debate, Sir Zafar and me. So one more thing that that was previously part of your syllabus, but they have never mentioned and never asked in your syllabus, that is binary addition. So this time they have clearly mentioned that you should be knowing the binary addition of the bits in paper 1. Now we all know that you were having USB port. Now you will be having 2 more ports, HDMI port and VGA ports as well. So you need to study about these 2 ports as well. And in ethics part, a little bit of AI is introduced. In paper 3, sorry, in paper 2, one major change in the topics, ADTs are included in paper 2. Abstract data type, the trees, the stack, linked list, queues, all these things are included in your paper 2. And in paper 3, only one topic they have changed and introduced, that is AI, artificial intelligence. Again, I have been working in a company, in a multinational company for 2 years, and I was working on AI. So they have introduced a very basic AI concept, but again, excellent step taken by the Cambridge to introduce AI over here, so you can have a good example how what is the mapping of the data, how what is big data, how we how we understand the human brain, what is the neural networks. So they have talked about that, and it will be fantastic when I will be teaching these topics, AI plus machine learning. So that is actually both runs parallel, machine learning. So this was for paper 3, and I think I have much explained about the paper 4. So that was all from my side, Sir Zafar.
Okay, sir. This was wonderful. I've been looking through paper 1 for this new syllabus.
Let me open the slide.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Yes.
So, Yeah, I've been looking through it. Few things that I checked were like in compression, they now want you to try compressing text file, bitmap files, vector files, and sound files actually
Oh,
in 1.3 compression. Earlier it
yes,
was
yes.
just RLE introduction and compression. Now they actually want us to compress these through RLE, run length encoding. Afterwards, in network, they have introduced radio waves for Wi-Fi and wireless network interfacing card. Earlier, we just had this network interfacing card. Now we have got wireless network interfacing card as well. All right. Yeah, you were right that CSMA CD is brought from paper 3 to paper 1 now. And there is a new concept of thin client and thick client is introduced.
Oh, I
Yes,
haven't seen
thick
that.
and thin. Yeah, thick and thin client is introduced as well. Besides, now we are going to use these network topologies like bus, mesh, and hybrid topologies. We used to teach us ring, star, and bus. Now they have actually included bus,
Mesh as
star,
well.
mesh, and hybrid. This is in communication as well. All right, this was new. This is not there in I mean 9608. Okay. Afterwards, as you said that they have introduced virtual headsets in 3.1 hardware components.
Yes.
And then P9608 does not require us to have the types of ROM like PROM, EPROM, and
Yes, I
EEPROM.
write over here.
They, yeah, they have been introduced as well. All right. Uh, in processor fundamentals, in computer architecture, as you said, that they have introduced HDMI and VGA uh, ports as well. And when we used to study interrupts, there were very few because that is not in the book or other stuff. The discussion of interrupt service routine was not there. Now they have explicitly asked that we should teach interrupt service routines whenever we are actually teaching interrupts. Uh, and then in commands, they have introduced two new commands. One is move, M-O-V. I'm talking about assembly language instructions. Two new type of instructions are introduced as well. Move. Sir, you can unshare this screen. That is fine.
Uh, Sir, I need 2 minutes more.
All right, all right. Okay. Move, which is used to move the content of the accumulator to the given register, and then subtract. Subtract was introduced. And in comparison, there is another class of comparison is indirect comparison is also added to it, which is called CMI. Then bit manipulation was part of paper 3 in 3.6.2. Now it is part of paper 1 in 4.3 bit manipulation. Not just that, they have introduced two new commands, LSL and LSR, left bit shifting and right bit shifting as well. Then this is apparently what I could see. I'm just skipping
Yes.
through it. All right, one more thing about P2. although in exam it is not required to write the code in any of the languages, but you see, until or unless students don't code, they won't be able to grasp the idea, because as far as P4 is concerned, as soon as we start P4, we need a good grasp of languages, because when we are studying advanced programming, we have no time to discuss what is loop and what is variable declaration, what is an array and all. So when we are actually studying P4, we need everything to be known clearly, and programming can only be learned by doing. Isn't it,
Exactly.
sir?
I will second that.
Yeah, yeah. Sir, the other machine which is not being used, if you could unconnect it so that our pictures could be enlarged.
Ah, sure.
So, although we won't be writing, thank you very much, sir. Although we won't be writing any of the codes in P2 with any programming language, but certainly to make our students code, they should code. All right. So whatever the language, I'm thinking to, because it would be pseudocode and Visual Basic.net, as you said that you love it. Who does not? So yes, sir, I love it as well. As far as Visual Basic.net is concerned, Visual Basic.net is almost more than 95% close to the pseudocode. It works like pseudocode. So it is a good idea that P2 should be taught with Visual Basic.net, and P4 can be taught using Python. Certainly, codes in Python are very much short than codes that we write in Visual Basic. All right. So, students, I just spoke about it so that students don't take it like, oh, we don't have to write anything and it would go like O level and all. No, it won't be going anything like O levels. It would be a difficult paper too, which needs to be tackled the way it is being tackled nowadays. And every single code that you would run, no matter if you would have to write it in pseudocode, you would still have to program it. What you
Sir,
say, sir?
I have same thoughts. And I will be the first class of the programming. I used to teach students the coding, because if they are able to code, then their concepts are clear. If they are not able to code, then their concepts will be always shaky. The imaginary world will be always on the other side.
Yes.
So again, and I will second you in the Python and VB comparison, because Python is a well structured language. When we talk about Visual Basic is a well structured language, and VB.NET, the frameworks are widely used. When we talk about the Python may, sir, uh, when we start off, if there is no and if, when we start off while there is no and while, there is no repeat until, there is no switching statement, there is no case of, there is no and for the for loop, it's case sensitive, you don't have data types, there are
And top
many
of
much
all, there are no arrays.
there are no arrays. List, we need to work on list. So
All right,
for the
all right, all
basics,
right.
it's very difficult
Yeah.
for the beginners.
Yeah. Then in ethics part for paper one, they have introduced the understanding of AI,
AI.
which is not in depth as far as P3 is concerned. In P3, it is in detail.
Sir,
Not
ethics
detail that
scandal,
way,
they
but
have also ethics scandal, they have also introduced BCS, British Computing Society codes as well. This time they have talked like
yes, it was there, sir. It was
it
already
was
there,
there.
but it was
Yes,
not. It was not
mentioned.
actually obvious. Yes, it was not mentioned, but they always wanted it. If you do remember from a scheme of works, they always asked us to actually teach it to our students. Okay. Then we have got database. Database is pretty much the same as we
Same.
have been teaching it, but in 8.3 they have now shown the data types for the database as well. Earlier it was not there.
Yes,
Yeah, they have
it was
introduced
quite confusing.
character,
We were using
varchar,
bool
boolean.
bits.
Yes, 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 they are more comprehensive with the content this time. Earlier, it was sometimes things were in dark, so we were unable to actually grasp the boundaries at how much do we have to teach and how much we have to hide from the students. But now this time it is quite comprehensively given. As you said that it is ISO 9001 certified, so everything should be there. Yes.
Yes.
All right, then we have got algorithm parts, and yes, data abstraction is there. Data abstraction means to cut off all the details and to talk about the thing at hand. One thing our students should understand that if it is linked list, it is not linked list as a separate data structure. Because it is abstract, we are actually implementing it using arrays. And if it is Python, definitely we will be implementing it using list. So the idea is to understand linked list. The idea is to understand stacks and queues and to implement them using arrays. All right, so that becomes a confusion part, and that would be true for P4 as well.
Yes.
In P4, we do the same. Okay, and then in algorithms. All right, what do you say about this structured English? Structured English is quite something which is generalized so much that if I like my students to know about it, most of the stuff that I find is in past papers rather than in books. And if I teach something from myself, I always feel that I'm adding something to it. I'm making it more complicated than making it easier for my students to understand. So I just try to tell them that you think everything not in terms of programming, but in terms of generalization. That like create a variable and create variables and initialize them, run a loop and do this, and take input and process it by applying the following formula and output it. Some sort of
Sir,
such
exactly.
things. What you
I
say
have the
about it?
same strategy. I have the same strategy while I'm teaching the structured English. I don't teach structured English at the starting of the syllabus of the paper 2. I teach them programming, I teach them pseudocodes, and when we move towards the past papers, then the question comes in front of them, sir, what is the structured English? Then I told them that it's a very simplified version of the pseudocodes, and you need to just focus on the keywords like create, array, create, like you were saying, if, then again the English words. So that's my strategy for that.
Yeah, obviously we cannot teach it at the start because that does not make any sense because it is nothing which is coming from O level. So we have to teach them first the programming, and after doing some codes and all, they would be better. They will be in better shape to understand this structured English. Otherwise, structured English, with all its simplicity, is not meaningful for them if they don't know how to code first. Yes, you're certainly right, sir. Okay. All right. Probably they are not asking us to write the codes in any of the language because, as you said, that if you take Python, Python is basically the choice of most of the teachers abroad and locally as well. Nowadays, it is getting very much popular. But the thing is that when we go with Python, as you said, that there is no case and case, but case and case here in constructs is explicitly given. There is no repeat until it is explicitly given under the
Post condition loops.
post condition loop. Yes. And what else we don't have? Arrays we don't have.
And case sensitivity. Python is case sensitive.
Case.
So student,
Yes.
and again the major part, indentation. So if they are too not looking for the indentation in Python, they are gone. But in VB,
Yeah.
it
It does
works
it
fine.
itself.
Yes,
The IDE does it
autocorrect.
itself. Yes. Yes, the autocorrect. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And Python does not have procedures, sir.
Yes, they only have def,
They have
and
the
def you cannot define
yeah, yeah,
procedures.
yeah.
But sir, the thing is that students don't understand this. They think that Python is the best language, Python is
No,
Python is wo,
sir,
but
the thing is that Python is the language of future. So what this is what I'm trying to tell by saying all that about Visual Basic and Python. What I was telling that when you teach them P2, it is a good idea to teach them P2 with Visual Basic. And when you teach
okay,
them, when you prepare them for the P4 exam, it is a good idea to teach them Python.
yes.
Yeah,
I will be
because if
working
you
on the
are
strategy. I will be working on this strategy. I think, sir, Zafar internet is lagging.
let's
Or
see
okay,
paper
fine.
1 and 2 that we discussed. Okay, let's see now A level content, yani A2. A2, in A2 we have got first P3. And sir, what do you say about sequential files? Sequential file is an extension of text files.
Exactly.
Yeah, but in text file we can only add at the end, means we can only append. So we have to do some technique, some gimmick in programming. We have to logically tackle it. We have to create another file and find the place of the new record which is being
Sir,
taken into the variables, and then find the space and put in
exactly.
another
Sir,
file. Because yeah,
sir, it depends
please go ahead.
where we are teaching sequential file. Like in paper 2, if I am teaching, although it's quite related to that sequential file concept, but I don't tell students that I'm teaching you sequential files. But when I'm teaching them in P3, then I go with the theory. I go with that stuff, that how you can arrange the data, how you can work on that data, and what is the file organization, and what is the difference between file access methods. So I relate them similarly, but
I
then
think
I take them
now
forward.
with the new syllabus, it is irrelevant to teach them about sequential files in AS, because AS explicitly requires you to teach just text file in terms of serial files. But yes, we have to now using a key field. So if we are introducing a key field to a text file, certainly we are making it sequential. So the idea would not be to create another file and to find the space of it. Idea would be to make the serial file a sequential by assigning every coming record a new serial number and making it identical.
Exactly, exactly,
Not to sequence them or the name or addresses or phone numbers or grades, rather just take the record like a serial file, and if we are giving it as an ID by ourselves, which is a sequence number, then it is a sequential file, and if we are not, then it is a serial file. Simple. So with that concept, we can teach them in AS, but certainly in AS, the topic is not there. So it is a good idea to teach them text file.
I think my internet is lagging, sir, or your.
A digit, and
I think Sir Zak's internet is lagging. So let's see. Yes, he has left. So we are going to just end this today's topic. But before we are going to end, I always give a message to the students whenever I used to end the session. So today's lesson for the students is in 2012 there was a boy. The boy named was A. I told you that I am very bad at drawing, so bear with me. The boy name was A. He used to he has a dream that he wanted to become a teacher, and for that he started contacted multiple tuition centers, multiple teachers, multiple schools, but no one supported him. Then there was another teacher, and that teacher name was B. That teacher, that teacher, this boy reaches to that teacher and he told that I wanted to teach. So that teacher B supported that teacher A. He give him his notes. He uh, give them help in each and everything. He told me he told him how to stand in classes, how to deliver lectures, how to work on the notes, how to uh, update yourself. And I cannot uh, thanks that teacher much. Then that teacher A actually, with the support, with the backup of that teacher B, reaches at a higher level. And then multiple colleges, multiple schools, multiple centers contacted him, and he learned the art of teaching. So that teacher A actually was me, and that teacher B was actually Sir ZAK. So I really want to thank Sir ZAK for all the support at the starting of my career. He provided me, he supported me. Thank you so much, Sir ZAK, for everything, for every support that you provided me. And with this, I would like to end our today's session. Inshallah, I will be meeting you in the next sessions if Sir Zafar will be calling me.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. We all will be coming together to help our students. And certainly, certainly. Thank you very much for your kind and nice words towards the end of the show. Sir, we are keeping this show on. After the exams, we won't be able to keep it thrice every week, but yes, once a week we will be keeping it up. I am trying to come up with all those topics which are actually tough for students to tackle with. So let me just check, sir, if there are any questions. If there are, we then answer them. Otherwise, we just call off the show. It was a wonderful show, sir.